Everyone wants more money, but most of us weren't taught how to create an abundant life. That's where the More Money Show comes in. If you're ready to have more money, create more freedom, and experience more fun, turn the volume up. It's time to learn how to create the prosperity and life you have been dreaming of. Here's your host, Cassie Park.
Hello and welcome to this episode of More Money. I am your host, Cassie Parks, and today I'm so excited to welcome back Maggie McReynolds. Hi, Maggie.
Hi, Cassie.
How are you today?
I'm super good. How are you?
Awesome. So tell me something awesome.
Something awesome. I have several awesome things, but the one that comes to mind is I just signed a new client.
Yay!
So my grand total is going up for money manifested working. And I can pause here if you want to read out that figure. I can read off that figure.
You can read it.
Feels delightful.
Yeah.
Can I? Because I happen to have it right here. So as of today, $62,064.92. So you can tell I'm really keeping track of every amount.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Not just the big stuff. Because I've got this weird ass number. And I could only come up with that if I was really tracking, like, I found 3 pennies. You know?
Exactly. Which is like, that's what matters. I tell people this, like, because you're, plus 20,000 from before. So that's in the 82,000 range, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we just keep talking about how you're closing in on the $100,000, and I'm envisioning this amazing $100,000 photo shoot with you, because like that's what my clients get to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so, when you're at $99,998.56, like you're gonna be glad you counted all those, because just another $1.46 puts you over.
Right. That's right. Well, and I assume, we did this exercise early on about how do you feel about a penny? How do you feel about a bigger bill? And it was so interesting to me back then to do that, because like most people, I've assigned meaning to different size bills in my head. Right?
Mm-hmm, right.
Like this bill is better than this bill, and this this bill is way better than this penny. And once I really sat with kind of like how I felt about them and their energy, I guess, for lack of a better word, it's like, it's all just abundance. I mean, I wasn't really feeling like one has a really different energy signature,
Yeah.
So if I can get excited about the small money and equally excited about the bigger money, I feel like it's. I'm not saying to the universe, oh, you brought me flowers, I wanted chocolates.
Right?
Like,
bring it all. I'll take it all.
I'll take it all. I'll take chocolates and flowers. Thank you.
Yes, exactly. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So fun. I love it. So what else is awesome? I think you have a lot of awesome things going on.
I do have a lot of awesome things. So one of the things you and I have talked about is that I've crossed what I think is kind of a business milestone, where people are starting to show up on my calendar and I don't know who they are. Like nobody's referred them. I don't recognize the name from my different circles. It's just a person. And it's fun, because it's like a wonderful game to figure out who is this person and what are they going to want. And the last conversation I had with someone was someone local here to the Boulder area. And I asked her how she'd found me. And she said, well, I just Googled best life coach in Boulder and you were at the top. And I'm thinking, really? Okay. And I really assumed, honestly, that she hadn't really done that, or that she'd misunderstood, or that something was weird. But then when I was just talking with you, I actually did Google best life coach in Boulder, and I don't come up as number one in Google, but the Yelp listing for best life coaches in Boulder comes up, and I am number one in Yelp. And I was like, I didn't even know. I'm like,
right?
Oh, apparently some people think I'm the best life coach in Boulder. Well, that's pretty cool.
That is, right?
Yeah. So I have a title I didn't even know I had.
That's amazing. That is totally awesome.
Yeah. I mean, how different is my energy going to be? Thinking that I'm the best life coach in Boulder.
Exactly. Right.
Right.
This is who I am.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a brag thing. It's just, that's what it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was pretty awesome.
That is
and
awesome.
contrasting that, last night I had the opportunity to have friends over for dinner that I haven't seen in 8 years. And 8 years ago, I was in a very different state, both physically and metaphorically, and a very different place in my life. And so this was a very cool opportunity to see my life through the eyes of others and from someone who used to know me back in the day, I guess. Yeah. And they're walking around my house and going, whoa, and they're looking at my book on the wall and on the bookshelves and going, whoa, and hearing about my business and going, wow. And so it was a great opportunity for me to kind of look around and go, whoa, yeah, whoa, I'm excited. So seeing it all freshly through their eyes and seeing that there's at least some somebodies out there who think I'm the best life coach in Boulder was sort of like, who knew? So cool.
So awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. I love hearing that story. And I love getting that perspective of,
yeah,
that's who I used to be. Yeah. And it's especially like different for you. Some of us because there's that physical part as well. Like not everybody has I was laying on the couch and ill and all of that.
Yeah, not everybody has a backstory of being bedridden. No, yeah. Thankfully. I mean, because it wasn't fun.
Yeah. But so sometimes I just love it about you that they could just even be like, oh, wow. Because a lot of times, sometimes inside you're different. But it's very there's this physical, in addition to all this other stuff, which is, I love the way you described, we walked around my house and they were like, oh, this is cool. And this is cool because this house is so you, it's so future self. It's so who you stepped into.
Well, and although I would have said at the time that it was not fun life circumstances meant that at one time I gave up everything I owned. Mm-hmm. So I guess I could say that was really tragic, but at the same time, I wouldn't have a house that was totally representative of me now. If that were true, I'd be dragging around my old stuff, same as we all do.
Right.
I'd have weird stuff that I just had because it was my grandmother's or because I bought it when I was 18 and I'm sentimental or, or it was on sale or, some weird thing. So everything in my home has been intentionally chosen by me.
Yes.
Not some of it for look, but some of it for the energy of it, some of it for just how it makes me feel to use it or look at it. There's really nothing random in my house.
Yeah.
That's the great thing about getting a clean slate.
Yes.
I never had to do the Marie Kondo thing.
Right.
Life just reorganized my house for me. We're going to take care of that for you.
Right. Here you go.
You don't have to worry about cleaning out the basement.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah. And I want to kind of rewind to last week when maybe we weren't as laughy and giggly and it didn't
feel hot. In fact, I didn't even want to do this interview.
Right. Yeah. Which was good. Right. And so we decided we should do coaching session first, which is awesome. I love it. You want to talk about what was going on last week?
I had just a bad case of the shoulds. Really did. I was very heavy and bogged down with things I thought I should be doing that I hadn't, and feeling sort of guilty and shamey and failure-y. That's my new word, failure-y. I write for a living. Can you tell?
Yes.
I just felt yucky about it, and I didn't want to talk. I was like, I'm just not doing well. I didn't know I was the best coach in Boulder at the time.
Right. Yeah.
Or it might have all been different. I had mostly a lot of internal admin stuff and also marketing stuff that I really was telling myself I was supposed to be doing. Mm-hmm. And it was a real problem that I wasn't doing it.
Yeah.
And Cassie, you were so great. You were like, so, are you like, is your roster full of clients? And I'm like, yeah, I'm really close to being on a wait list. And you're like, okay. And you're like, who's on your calendar? And I'm like, oh, there's people on my calendar I've never heard of. That's new. And you're like, okay, so I'm not seeing where the problem is. I'm like, maybe there isn't one. Whoa, mind blown, right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting to me the way we humans, not just me, I hope,
Not just you.
can fall into this mindset of, scanning the horizon, scanning the perimeter. What am I missing? What might be wrong? What could go wrong?
Right.
And confusing that for reality.
Right.
Why would I be sweating and producing a giant marketing campaign when I'm so booked I'm almost on a waiting list?
Right.
So I could have more people frustrated and on a waiting list?
But yeah, but it seems obvious now, but it's like, especially as a business owner, like entrepreneurs get this in their head. Well, I should do this. I should do this. I should do this. And like, again, I'm going to point out, you've said it, but like your shoulds were all so you could have more clients or enough clients or
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Or protect against some mythic, disaster that hasn't happened. It's like, it's like saying I should have buckets of water everywhere in case the water goes off.
Yeah. Right.
It's never happened in my lifetime, but it could.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I got to get busy filling those buckets of water. And if I haven't done it, I should feel super bad.
Right.
So, I think I'm just going to avoid the whole buckets of water thing.
Yeah. Cause it's just so freeing. I mean, and you're the best life coach in Boulder. So
well, clearly
there's more clients.
I have a whole new bucket of water analogy.
Yes.
Just made that up on the fly.
I love it.
But it kind of is the same, right? Because universe is about flow.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're not trusting in the flow, then yes, we would think we'd have to have buckets of water just in case the spigot turned off.
Yeah. Right. Which was there. You did think the spigot was going to turn off.
I did.
Like there. Yeah. You were like, yeah, well, but this might, but right. And you've already said it, but I said, but somebody you don't know ended up on your calendar. Like you have no idea who they are. And it's like, oh yeah, you're right. It is flowing in, right? It is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and since I think that we see what we expect to see, I try to be intentional about what expectations I throw out there, right?
Yes. Yes.
If I'm always watching the spigot going, I hope it doesn't stop dripping. I hope it doesn't turn off. Oh, it might turn off,
Right.
That's not helpful.
No, it's not. So I'm excited about this new place, right? I know. I'm just going to trust. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love
it. And it works. But, only all the time.
Right? Yeah. And I will say, I want to point this out. Like one of the things that you should have been doing, quote, air quotes, was an assignment I had given you.
Yes.
Right. And so then you definitely didn't want to get on the phone because you hadn't done that assignment, as if I didn't know you hadn't done the assignment because I hadn't seen it posted.
I'll keep it a big secret. She'll never know.
She'll never know I didn't do it. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing that I realized after talking to you or while talking to you is that I did get what I needed out of the assignment.
Yeah.
Because in doing the part that we did together, I got clear that I wasn't using language that my clients could relate to.
Mm-hmm.
That I was telling them all about what I needed and wanted, as opposed to like having anything to do with where they were. And that's hysterical because I know better from being a book coach. I mean, it's not how you write a book. So it's not how you write an ad either.
Right.
And yet, when we allow our stories and our fear to get into the driver's seat, they take us to some weird ass places.
Yeah.
And they took me to a place where, there's lack and, the faucet might turn off any minute.
The way you should do
that place.
Right?
I don't like that place. I'm not going back.
I know you're not going back. For sure you're not going back.
Well, I know where that turn off is now. And I'm like, yeah, no.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Right? It's good. Yeah. I love it. And you're right. Like, and even I said, like I believe we should always do our assignments, but I think it was such a good example of why we come back to our coach and say, oh, but I haven't done this. And it's like, well, but all this other stuff is amazing. Like, you don't have to do every assignment,
Mm-hmm.
or you don't have to do it to the extent that, because often that's just the thing, right? We get what we want. That's the whole reason I started doing it, is like, so you could get clear on what wasn't working, not so that you could do another assignment.
Well, and it's funny, and I know this as a coach, and you probably know it as a coach. And even I think for people who aren't coaches, we get into this feeling of, I should know how to do this by myself. Or as my
Yeah.
toddler used to say, by self, do by
Yes.
self. So I was all like, I'm going to just wrestle through this by self. And, like, you're my coach. If I'm having a problem, that would be where to bring it. But no, instead I'm going to like hide or pretend to hide.
Yeah.
Again, I'm like a toddler. I'm like, you can't see me. You can't see me. You know? I mean, I'm right there, not doing
Right.
the assignment. I'm right there, but I can't see you. So, and I'm not even talking to you about it. So
Right.
it's this idea that, awesome. I've manifested over $82,000, but that doesn't mean I don't still need coaching.
Right.
That like, I'm good to go now,
Yeah, on it.
I mean, all done for life. And that's what's so valuable about the Enchanted Circle, is that there is that support and that reminder and that opportunity over and over to step into future self, to step into that energy, to surround yourself with like-minded people whose energy is similarly vibing high, and a coach who, probably has some useful information for you if you'll ask.
So true.
Yeah. So I think I'm all done hiding. We'll
Good.
see.
I love it. I love it. But this is growth, right? Like,
Yeah.
hiding for you used to look a lot different and a lot longer and a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's awesome. I love it, because now it's like full on laughter instead of me sort of trying to coax you out from under the couch to like just talk to me a little bit.
You were watching, weren't you? I do remember a time in my life when I was so sad that I couldn't fit under my couch. My couch was really low to the floor, but I remember thinking, I bet it would be awesome under there. It would feel really safe. I'm sure it wouldn't have just been dusty and yucky, but
Right. But, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
So I love it. And I want to touch on a couple other things we talked about
Mm-hmm.
last week. One is this shift in money and the worry or the lack thereof. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's really interesting. Just last night, so I had these old friends over for dinner, and of course I'm wanting to feed them well and provide high quality drink and stuff. And so I'm running around at the last minute buying some vodka and buying cake pops, and I'm telling myself this crabby little story while I'm driving around. Crappy and crabby, by the way. Both. I'm like, I just spent $100 in like 20 minutes for these people. And, I'm seeing them for once in 8 years, and I'll probably never see them again. And what a weird investment that is. And I had to kind of pull myself up short and go, what are you doing? What are you doing? I mean, why do you make money anyway? Oh, so I have money to use.
Right.
I think sometimes around spending, we forget that that's the point.
Yeah.
I mean, let's say this is the $100 and I haven't spent it. I still have it. Okay.
Right.
Great. So I have this paper.
Yeah.
And if I don't do anything with it, it's just a piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. I have many stacks of pieces of paper. So, So
Yeah.
I'm not just saying that saving doesn't make any kind of sense as long as we're saving towards an experience or something.
Towards something.
But money for its own end is crazy.
Well, and that's what your future self has money for, right? To throw amazing parties and create.
To buy cake pops, clearly.
Yeah, cake pops for her
Champagne
guests.
and cake pops.
Yes, totally. And I want to talk I love it. And I totally I actually love when I spend $100 in 20 minutes. I'm like, oh, cool. Got that taken care of in 20 minutes.
Well, actually, that's really true, because instead of driving miles to go to Trader Joe's or Costco or save those $2 or whatever it would have been, I was like, there's a great bakery just down the street. There's a great liquor store just down the street.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided that was what felt fun and light.
I love
Then,
it.
it may have cost $8 more than if I'd driven all over the world. Oh, well, okay,
Right.
cool.
I love it. So how is the overall like more money worry shifted from January till now? You've been in the Enchanted Circle 188 days now. It's crazy.
Yeah. Um, yeah, that means I'm only like halfway through the year.
Yes. Which is cool, right? Yeah.
I can get a little excited about my return.
Right? Uh-huh.
I don't worry about money.
Mm.
And it's not that I have no awareness of it, because I do. I have expenses and income and outgo. But for the most part, I'm a human, but for the most part, I'm just kind of trust that life is lifing along.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm consistently having conversations and I'm consistently open to ways in which abundance might show up for me, my experience is that money consistently shows up for me.
Mm-hmm.
Not always in the way or from the source I thought it would, but
Yeah.
I mean, so in this figure, I keep showing you like the people can read this. Read
I
this
know,
little
right?
tiny scroll.
And especially those that are just listening. She keeps waving her sticky note with her total.
I know, and it has like little tiny scrawls on it, and it's probably backwards for you. So like, awesome. So the $62,000, that's since like something like the end of January.
Uh-huh.
And I will tell you that before that figure, I had exactly $900. Not just in my checking account. I mean, like in the world.
Yeah.
And that was a little worrying. I will be honest and say so. That was a little worrying.
I get it.
That's just a fraction of my rent. And if I can do this, I can do anything. If I can manifest $62,000 in, 6 months, it can do anything.
That's right.
So worry makes no sense to me.
I love it.
I mean, it's
right?
not not relevant.
No sense. Yeah.
It's not relevant.
And what space has that freed up in your life?
Oh my goodness. The best part, I think, is that two best parts. One is that I no longer feel that there's this mythology about having to work hard to make money.
Mm-hmm.
So I no longer have this sort of time bravado about like, I'm putting in 70 hours a week.
Yeah.
That's not my experience. I'm not even working 40 hours a week.
Love it.
Maybe, I don't know. I'm not really keeping track. I work when it feels good, and I don't when I don't want to, and it works out.
Yeah.
And because that's true, the time when I'm not working, I am, for the most part, not giving away to, I should be working. Oh, let me add up all my bills and add up all my income and add up. I used to tally this stuff. You remember?
Yeah, I remember.
Several times a day.
Yes.
I had this sheet.
Do you think this is helpful? No.
I know. I was like, I think this is really helpful. And you're like, why? Yeah. Well, I really had a story that if I didn't just keep an eagle eye on everything all the time, that something terrible was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I got to keep my eye on that ball all the time. The water might turn off if I don't watch it. It's like standing in front of the faucet going, is it still working? Is it still working? Yeah. So that's gone.
Yeah.
I mean, I do check in with my balance sheet, but like once a week, maybe.
Yeah.
Or maybe like come getting close to bill paying time towards the end of the month. Hey, do I actually have what I think I do? Yeah, cool, I do.
Awesome.
And so even the energy of that woman who used to check this feverishly multiple times a day, and that predated being down to $900. I was like that most of my life.
Yeah.
That woman doesn't exist anymore. Which means when I'm taking time off, this is the point I really wanted to make, I'm actually being present. So it's actually restorative. It's so much more expansive. Like I have more capacity in my lungs. I when I was worrying all the time, I could have been sitting on a dock of a beautiful lake and just not even have seen it. not have been there for it, because I would have been in my head doing the tally sheet.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is even better than the money is the expansiveness and peace and presence I get in my life every day from not worrying about it and obsessing about it. That's huge.
That is huge.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Oh, so
You know how when people say that when they're kids, they wish they were kids again because I didn't have to worry about money or the garbage or jobs or responsibility. I feel like a kid again. I feel that kind of freedom.
Yes. That's
because I don't have to worry about money.
Yes.
And I can wheedle somebody else into taking out the garbage.
Right? I love that.
Yeah.
I love it. And I think that kind of ties into the last kind of big thing I wanted to talk about, which was 6 months ago, you had like this gigantic movement. I got to do all these things. I included like building housing projects, which might
Oh, right.
I mean, it was
Yes.
it was like big stuff, not just like, I want to serve 1 million people, which is every.
Oh no, it was like a global,
global housing.
Huge.
Yeah. I mean,
Huge.
So big. And just talk about sort of the shift that's happened as you become more your future self, as you step into her.
Well, the interesting thing is there was nothing wrong with any of this.
No, it's all awesome.
And it really wasn't all that much in alignment or relevant to who I am and where I am in my life.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt, I don't know, I think I felt I had to justify myself to myself and to the world. I had to do these big things because that was the only way to have impact, was to be big. And what peace and presence and trust has shown me is that my impacts can be no less meaningful for being smaller scale. Mm-hmm. Instead of changing the world in one big membership site, where everybody is, wearing my t-shirts and shouting my business name from the rooftops or whatever it is they're doing. I can affect change one client at a time, one person at a time. Mm-hmm. And that's in some ways, I don't know if it's more profound. It's no less profound, and it is personally for me more satisfying. Mm-hmm. Because I'm all about relationship and connection. Mm-hmm. And there's a part of me that would love to walk out on a big stage and talk to a stadium of screaming people. But there's also a part of me that just loves what we're doing right here. Yeah. And that feeds me. And when I'm fed, I in turn can nourish others. Mm-hmm. And that's not possible if I'm taking on, stadium-sized venues on a weekly basis. And, I'd be played out all the time.
Right.
So I have found more freedom, and I think I'm making a bigger difference in the world on a smaller scale. Mm-hmm. It sort of goes hand in hand with work doesn't have to be hard.
Right.
To be either meaningful or profitable.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be ginormous. It doesn't have to be a global movement. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be this massive scale. And it doesn't have to be 70, 80 hours a week and you don't have a life.
Right.
So it's changed everything. So I have love for that me of 6 months ago who had big dreams, but they were sort of like a balloon floating up in the air. Like, I don't even know how to get there.
Right.
Right. Right. It's way up there in the sky. Yeah. I guess I have to learn how to fly now. I'm dreaming the dreams that are in alignment with me and my energy and my age and what I want for the rest of my life outside of career and vocation. Mm-hmm. So I have a lot more of me to bring to the party as a result, whether that party is a professional one or, me on that dock at that lake actually looking at it and being there with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. It's awesome.
I was making it so hard, Cassie. making it so insanely hard. Like life is a test and I'm determined to pass it.
Right? I mean, but it's good when you have that like work hard mentality. We create things that'll create hard work. Right?
Yes.
That's what we even
Giant
create
global
dreams.
movements.
Right. Yeah. We create dreams that will create hard work. Right.
Yeah.
Instead of like I love the way you said it. Like I'm tapped into the dreams that are like what I want now, like
Right.
who I want to be and how I want to live the rest of my life.
And look, it's apparently working because, I got to be the best life coach in Boulder and I, without even trying, and I didn't even know.
I know. You got like that big old stage title without even doing the thing. I love that.
Well, I've been fortunate to have a few really positive Yelp reviews and comments, and that made a difference. But it's just funny that could have happened. That would have been something I would have believed I would have had to wage a massive advertising and public relations campaign to achieve.
Right.
So it's a great example.
It is so good.
Because if I had set out to achieve that as a goal, I would have made it big and hard.
Yep.
Big and hard. And it just happened while I wasn't looking.
Right.
Which is how a lot of my money is coming in.
Yeah. It happens while you're putting your focus and energy in what you want and being amazing and stepping into your future self. Yeah.
It's funny, Cassie, because I can remember a time where I really wanted to believe that was true and possible, but I was like, no. That's too easy. It's not hard enough. I bet it would work better if I made it a little harder. So I'm glad I kind of shut up and started listening to you.
Me too. This is very fun.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. I love it. Very cool. Any final thought? I can't wait for our next interview.
I know.
Any final thoughts for today?
You can imagine the size of the sticky note. I'll be waving by then.
Excited.
I'll get one of those giant. Have you seen those giant sticky notes who are like the size?
Yes.
I love these things.
Because it's like you can see. Oh yeah, I do too.
Well, and because they're crazy. I mean, nobody needs a sticky note.
Right. I know.
It's like those roadside attractions that are like world's biggest ball of yarn. It's like world's biggest sticky note. I love it. So last thoughts, I guess, are that what I'm being presented with by invitation over and over again is to simplify, to breathe more, to be present, and to keep it simple.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not what I thought money was about at all, even remotely. And I don't think it's what we're taught or trained as a culture to believe.
No.
So I guess as a message to anybody listening or watching, I would say, be willing for it to be easy.
Yes.
Be willing for that to be true.
Yes. I love it. Yes. Awesome. Thank you so much, Maggie. Oh, please tell everybody where they can connect with you if they feel like they would like to work with Boulder's Best Life Coach.
Wow. At this point, I think the actual best place to find me is on Facebook. Awesome. I'm at facebook.com/the Maggie McReynolds, because who else would there be?
Right, exactly.
And you can also find me at my website at iamunsettling.com.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. And thank you everybody for listening. Make sure to check out the Next Year of Growth interview as well as Maggie's next interview to see what her new total is.
Thank you for joining us on The More Money Show. To learn more about enrolling in the Enchanted Circle, go to cassieparks.com.